This is why everyone's here for the podcast. Guys, EVO's been canceled this year. And I'm not talking like, oh, it got canceled, okay, we're going to do online EVO. No, in general, EVO as a whole this year has gotten canceled for a F-load of reasons, okay? And I'm talking an F-load, okay? Let's talk about one of them. One of the big reasons why EVO has officially been canceled is because the co-founder was placed on leave as sexual misconduct claims embroiled the fighting community. Joey Cuellar, the co-founder and president of the world's biggest fighting, and I'm reading this from Washington Post, the Washington News, fighting game tournament, widely known as EVO, has been placed on administrative leave pending a third-party investigation and allegations of sexual misconduct, according to a social media post from tournament's Twitter account earlier Thursday morning. The accusations were made in a Twitter post by a user named Mikey under the Twitter handle Pyron Ikari. The allegations claim instances of sexual misconduct by Cuellar in the late 90s and early 2000s. Attempts to reach Cuellar through the event's administration were not returned at the time of publication. And so forth and so forth. That's the first thing. And EVO had said this on their Twitter. We are aware of the accusations that have been made against Joey Cuellar. The behavior in these accusations runs directly counter to EVO's mission of building a safe, welcoming environment for all of our players and attendees. We take the responsibility seriously. Accordingly, Joey has been placed under administrative leave pending a third-party investigation. That's the first round of news that's been going on with EVO, okay? And Bandai Namco and Capcom have pulled out of this year's EVO. And allocate, were there any other companies that pulled out of EVO this year?
I'm checking it out right now. I know for sure it was. We already addressed Capcom, Bandai Namco. Oh, them fighting hoods, like that indie fighting game, like that My Little Pony fighting game. That game pulled out too, also.
So NetherRealm, Capcom, Bandai Namco. Who else were pulling out of EVO? Didn't SNK pull out as well?
I'm trying to figure
SNK,
that out right
Atlas. Yeah, figure that out. Kabuto, what's your thoughts? Go ahead.
I knew that some companies pulling out would be inevitable. Between COVID cases and events being canceled and the possibility of events being canceled, not just in person, but also online. But I did not expect so many companies to pull out, especially Capcom, and Bandai Namco too, because EVO is always a great time for Bandai Namco to also introduce new properties, with Geo, not Geo, 01 almost done. They could release a new Kamen Rider game if they wanted to. And people will get excited. Well, at least I would get excited. But but it is what it is. I hope next year they're going to bounce back better than before. But with all the scandals going on, they better bounce back.
I want to know how deep this rabbit hole goes, if that's the case, because it's jacked up, man. It really is.
Because if it's been happening for a while, it's why was it not called out on?
Well, I think that's why we have the new wave, the whole speaking out thing. I mean, and obviously that's good. I am very glad that people are speaking up now about this instead of doing it later on. I'm glad people are doing it right. Yeah, I'm glad people are doing it right now. I'm very happy that people are doing it right now. Whether it's the video game community, the wrestling community, with everything that's going on with the WWE and Impact and everything like that. I'm glad people are actually speaking out right now. So
agree.
But there's more to it, and this is coming from The Verge real quick. Fighting game tournament organizer EVO has canceled EVO has canceled EVO Online and removed its co-founder and president from the company after serious allegations surfaced about his past behaviors. The long-running esports event previously been scheduled to take place in a new online-only format starting actually tomorrow. That's the funny thing. It was supposed to happen tomorrow. Yeah, and it goes into everything that happened and stuff like that. Okay, so here it is. Following the allegations, multiple companies pulled out. Here it is. Capcom, NetherRealm, Bandai Namco, as well as players and commentators, according to PC Gamer. So a whole bunch of people pulled out. So, and this comes from ESPN. Sexual abuse allegations surfaced in the fighting game community. NRG Esports released top Super Smash Bros. Player Nero on Thursday following allegations that he engaged in sexual relationships in 2017 with a fellow pro, Captain Zach Loth, who was then a minor, which we did talk about this last year when this happened. Myself, GC, Ryu, and CC, we talked about this, and Bogan Kado, you were there too. We talked about this last year. This morning we were, and this is going from, because I'm going to continue reading. This morning, we were made aware of disturbing information involving Nero, NRG said in a statement released on Twitter. We take these situations incredibly seriously. NRG has severed all ties with Nero. Allegations against, and this is the last name, Quezada, then 20, were published by Loth on Thursday morning. Loth outlined multiple sexual encounters that he said occurred during the CEO Dreamland in Orlando, Florida. In the post, Loth also alleged that Quezada and his brother manager, Kelvin Quezada, paid him money to stay silent from the encounter and asked him to lie about it when another community member first made allegations earlier in the week. Following Loth's post Thursday, Quezada deleted his Twitter account after releasing a statement in which he said, "I am not making excuses. My behavior was wrong." So he admitted to this. Just letting y'all know, Nero admitted to having a relationship with a minor. His brother made a post on his Discord server thanking Nero's fans and saying, "It's over. Nero is done." Loth's post comes amid a wave of allegations of sexual abuse, discrimination, and pedophilia in the gaming and esports communities over the past 3 weeks, with more than 200 allegations surfacing against some of the most powerful people in those industries. In the past days, other allegations against top Smash Bros. And fighting game community figures have surfaced. Community member KT Dominant alleged that top commentator and former Twitch employee D1 raped her while both were inebriated after Smash the Record, a charity event in Orlando in November of 2016. In the statement released Thursday, Main Grade said he did not remember the encounter because of alcohol intoxication. Evolution Championship Series placed director Joey Quayler, Mr. Wizard, under the allegations. So they actually talked about that too. Late Thursday, Quayler posted a statement on Twitter in which he apologized for his actions. The statement read, "I'm sorry, I never meant to hurt anyone. I was young and reckless and did things I'm not proud of. I've been growing and maturing over the past 20 years, but that doesn't excuse anything. All I have been trying to do is become a better person. Once again, I'm truly sorry." Wednesday, pro Smash player Troy Puppe Wells said that he had sexual relationship with a commentator, Cinnamon Centipede Dunson, in the summer of 2016 when he was 14 and she was 24, which we will talk about in the next few minutes. Dunson has not responded to the allegations. Loth was banned from many Smash Bros. Tournaments in August after he said he asked fellow pro Elite Ali, Beinston, Caruso, whatever, to throw 2 different matches against Zachary Okada and Nero at 2GG, Prime Saga, and Momocon in the spring of 2019. In July 2019, Orates 29 was also barred from the tournament after he admitted to having a relationship with Loth, who was 16 at the time. So I know this is a lot to process right now. I'm going to go with Kabuto first. Thoughts?
We're talking about the whole Smash community thing?
Not just the Smash community as a whole, but all the sexual allegations, and that are actually relatively at this point true, because the accusers are, the majority of the accusers that I've just named did come out and say, yeah, I did it.
It's kind of messed up, and like the problem with the community, like with people being part of a community, is if it's lower ranking members, how much are the community members are like supporting or unsupporting, like how much do they know and what have they done about it. But if it's a high ranking member of the community, because because like because if there's like a couple bad apples in a community, doesn't mean everyone else is bad. But the too few bad apples do like rot the tree from the inside out, and you got to cut off those apples before they infect the rest of the tree, worse than they already have. And then there's the higher up members. Like if those are predatory, how many people know about this, and how long have they been silent about it? Because you got to speak out sooner before more damage is done. And if it's a high and if a higher ranking member of a community like commits a certain crime, i.e., sexual harassment, it has more weight to the community as a whole than some lower level competitive player, because this is a person who's in charge. For all we know, there could be other lower ranking people that are committing these crimes, but the high ranking members who are also committing those crimes could be covering up for those people as well, which would make it even more difficult to find the truth for like the entire community. And it's sad because we spent decades trying to build up the gaming community, whether it's Smash, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighters, because video games used to be a niche thing, but then we started developing communities around it. It's supposed to be a safe space for like people of common interest and to develop a sense of camaraderie over a common interest. And then you got these predatory actors who are ruining it for everyone else. At some point, either people are not going to feel safe enough to stay within the gaming community, or whether it's that specific part or the gaming community as a whole, or the general public will look at the gaming community as a whole in a negative way, because in unfounded ways. Like for example, like if you have if you have a mass shooter who happened to play GTA, people keep making that assumption that this person's violent because they play GTA, not because those two things are wholly separate. Like I'm worried that if we don't nip the rose in the bud, people will start thinking that video games cause uh, uh, desires to commit sexual harassment, which gives power to a certain individual that we dare not speak of.
This all was because we also gotta remember the time frame where all this came out. Like I was about to go to bed like the night, because this all started with Nairo. Like the what was it? Nairo's accuser like came out, and this was like 1 or 2 in the morning, and then check on Twitter, and it was all these names: Nairo, D1, K Toro. They were all trending. And one thing that sucks about this is that these people, like the fans, all those content creators, all those public figures, they all looked up to them. Because if you go, like, if you were there in that moment when it was all happening, you scroll down and you see not Nairo, K Taro too, not D1. It's like people really put a pedestal on these people, and it was so like it's so hurtful. And I can't even imagine like the friends of these horrible people, like Raj, like the Japan Time podcast, for example. As they were making that podcast, they found one of their like closest people to them. The one of the main cast of that podcast was grooming people. Like, they felt so hurt. They were breaking down They were breaking down because like, there's no way. I knew this man for half of my life. I knew nothing about this, and like we can't believe it. And it was with D1 specifically. Here's the crazy thing: when Mayday came back to EVO, when Mayday came to EVO that year, that was like the first year I saw D1 in person. That was back in 2013, and then the accusation came out, or the accusation happened in 2016, came out yesterday. And the crazy thing is, D1 was at the Twitch Los Angeles hangout. I was talking to him just like a normal
Are you
human being.
serious?
I'm not joking. There's pictures. There's a picture of my Instagram with me, another Twitch related people playing Smash Bros with him. So when I first saw him, he didn't do anything. He was actually pure. 9 years later or 6 years later, my correction, I was talking to a predator who did something and I didn't know it. And it wasn't until yesterday that like, oh,
You know, you remind me of this one joke someone said. I can't remember like the exact details, but it was Halloween, and there was a person dressed up as a normal person, and they said, "What are you dressed up as?" And I can't remember if they said, "I'm a sexual predator" or "I'm a serial killer," but then the person asking responded, "But you're dressed like a normal person," and they said, "Exactly. That's what all serial killers slash sexual predators look like."
I believe based on what you were talking about, like I think it's disgusting. Like you know how people who have have a lot of money and in other words rich basically, like they have this power to like cover up their crimes, and while us more like the middle class or like we're just powerless. Like, the only thing we have is the power to speak up and say the truth out there and keep fighting. That a person did something horrible to them, and I actually feel bad for these victims who were targeted by one of these gamers that you were talking about. And what really bugs me the most is that all this cover up, basically,
Yeah,
like rather than being responsible for everything that they did, just walk away like nothing else happens. And I think that's disgusting, and it's something that society should really open up about more. I mean, today, ever since we got the pandemic, like we've been fighting for our the Black Lives Matter and the rights for the immigrants. We all should fight for those who were victimized of sexual abuse and everything, basically. Like, this has to stop, literally.
yeah, and the scary part is like if you go back to the whole Brock Turner incident, the reason why the judge only gave him like 3 to 6 months was because his father paid off the courts to give him a lighter sentence.
But another thing, to tell you the truth, like I don't know who mentioned that, but they pay people to like stay quiet. I'm
Right.
pretty sure those who are trying to help cover them up care about the money than others who are being victimized. And trust me, the ones who have been victimized by the sexual abuse is scarring them for their whole life. And then those helping each other. It's like
Yeah,
humanity turning
I
against
still have
humanity.
PTSD from.
So great,
If you're wondering what my thoughts are, I'm saving all my thoughts. I'm not gonna say a thing until we finish all this. I'm honestly just getting feedback from you guys. Okay.
Let me guess, you want to express some rage too.
You'll find out. So,
Okay.
before I get the centipede, I just found this out because as we were talking about this. This also happened. One of the commentators, Keitaro, this guy, admitted to having sex with an underage girl. This is coming from Jinx.tv as well. It was all over Twitter as well. Kitaro, age 30 at the time of the incident, confirmed the accusation of him having intercourse with a 16-year-old in 2018. And this is what it has to say. In some cases, they have involved soon after, player Puppa called out commentary Centipede for initiating a sexual relationship when he was 14 and she was 24. More victims came forward with their own stories. Keitaro, rumored to have been part of a case that involved grooming a minor, put an end to the speculation by confirming that it was true via a Twitlonger post. In his statement, the 32-year-old described an encounter with pro player Shiva as they were gearing up for a doubles tournament in California back in June of 2018, explaining how things escalated due to a drinking game while playing. You can read this more on the Twitlonger. I'm not going to read the rest of this. Does anyone want to take a crack at this?
I'm just down. Like I'm not.
This is so controversy, disturbing at all. God.
Okay then. Well, now let's get into Centipede. Now, Cinnamon Centipede. Now, I've seen this chick before. I've seen her in videos. I see her do commentary. So, when I found out that this broad was smashing a 14-year-old when she was 24, let me read this. This is coming from .esports. Troy Puppe Wells, who I've actually seen this kid do commentary. I watched this kid do commentary. This kid is talented. I've seen him play. Very talented Smash Bros. Player, okay? Said today that Smash Bros. Commentator and streamer Cinnamon Centipede Dunson initiated sexual conversations and later entered into a sexual relationship with him when he was 14 and she was 24. Wells said that in 2016, when he frequently carpooled to big tournaments, he would often travel with Dunson and others. During the summer of that year, Wells alleges Dunson initiated sexual conversation with him via Snapchat, and they would DM each other on Facebook daily. And he actually wrote I will read some of this from Logger. Late in the summer, a drunken Dunson allegedly tackled Wells to the ground and started making out with him before heading back to play more Smash at a post-tournament get-together. Yeah.
That's spicier than the footage I found on YouTube. Tackled and started making out. Wow.
Wells said that pseudo relationship lasted through the summer, with her constantly reminding him that he couldn't tell anyone, making him delete their Facebook messages history, and saying that we can get together when you are 18. I'm going to now. I told myself I was not going to read this, and I'm definitely not going to read Keitaro's, because Keitaro's actually low key just made me sick. But I have to read this as well. And I actually did some highlights to this real quick. Here it is. My entire world, and this is coming from Wells, Puppe. My entire life, I love competing in Smash, and when I was 14, that was pretty much all I did. I can only travel to big tournaments like Xanadu, The Cave, Fantastic Smash during the summer, since they were on weekdays and I was still in school. Since I was 14, I couldn't drive anything. I would end up carpooling up to these tournaments. My friends and I would do it on a weekly basis and would travel up to the further away weeklies on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Cinnamon and I were really good friends with each other at the time from traveling to locals together so much, and we ended up liking each other a lot. Sometime before the summer of 2016, Cinnamon initiated sexual conversations on Snapchat with me, and I would respond, but I never truly knew if anything would come of it. Cinnamon and I would DM on Facebook and Snapchat. The first sexual thing that happened, I'm just gonna skip ahead, between us happened one night after we got back from one of the tournaments we traveled up to. After the tourney, we went to a place we were staying at, and once we got there, everyone started playing Smash and then Mario Party after. People started drinking once we got back, to which happened regularly once we would reach wherever we were staying up at that night. But I would never drink myself because, well, he was a minor. Something crazy ended up happening in the game when we were playing. Since I was a hyper kid, I ran down the hallway towards the bathroom away from the main room we were all playing in as like a joke to pop off. Cinnamon, who was pretty drunk at the time, then ran after me and tackled me to the ground and started to make out with me while laying on top of me. That incident probably happened from about 15 to 20 seconds. And then after we just went back and kept playing, I was pretty much just in shock the entire time what was happening. I wasn't really opposed to it though, since I was 14 at the time and I liked her a lot. We spent basically every week together during the summer, so that on top of the sexual things we would made start to develop pretty strong feelings toward her. That was one of the many times I had sexual experience with her, but I'm not going to go into details about every single thing, since some of them are a blur in my mind, and I only remember probably 3 or 4 vividly. Of course, our pseudo relationship lasted pretty much the entire summer, and she played with my head so often during the time, and it still really F's with me to this day. I truly believe most of my mental issues stem from that summer and how she treated me. She would tell me things like, we can get together when you're 18. She would make me periodically delete our Facebook messages and would constantly remind me that I couldn't tell anyone, even though that was obvious to me. She would consistently gaslight me and make me question myself all the time. I was only 14 and still trying to find myself as a person. Not being able to tell anyone about my experience ate away at me constantly. Having to see her after this period hurt me a lot and would consistently distract me at tournaments. I would have to play her in doubles doubles tournaments on a weekly basis, pretty much, and she would be teaming up with her boyfriend during those times.
Whoa.
That would especially hurt me. I was super bitter about the whole thing, and when BM every set in the doubles I played versus them. I'm gonna skip to the last part. I could write for hours about my countless experiences during that summer, but that would make this insanely long. My reason to writing this is so I can hopefully be at peace with my experience finally. So I am so tired of having to be silent for years and years now, and I'm tired of hurting over it. I'm not looking for revenge or anything like that. I would have been anything like I would have been back then when I was petty and immature. I am writing this in hopes to simply be just at peace with myself and move on from the period of my life.
This is why I take issue with people saying about the whole the fantasy of being with an older woman while you're a teenager. No, see, even someone who has experienced this as a teenager just came out and very articulated very well about the negative consequences of what's it called, of dating someone who is 10 years older than you while you're still a teenager. Because yes, as a teenager, you're you're still finding yourself. In fact, it's Erickson's stage 5 in the 8 stages of human development. I actually took a test on that yesterday, so I actually know this. And we even did a video on it for one of my classes, if you recall. But the point is, it's like, yes, when you're in your teen years, you're trying to discover your self-identity, and not being able to do so leads to role confusion, where you're just a puppet to either a larger group or to some kind of higher authority that makes you lose your autonomy. And teenagers in general are very easy to manipulate. That's why predators like to go after them so much, because they're easy to manipulate, and it's easy to guilt them into thinking that if something bad happens in this forbidden relationship, it would be their fault and not the adult's fault, even though it really is the adult's fault. In fact, in what's it called? I'm trying to remember if it was Banduras or Erickson, but when you do become a teenager, you also go into a second egocentrism cycle where you feel like you're the center of attention, which is why teenagers tend to dress themselves longer, and that and there's an invisible audience, and you're the center of your own story. And when someone manipulates you, that's basically you losing your own battle. And the thing is, if you're not able to properly cope, yes, this is going to negatively affect you as an adult when you get older. I'm glad that he's able to articulate a little bit better what he what he went through, because hopefully one's coming to term, because the first step to recovering from any kind of trauma is by accepting that you did experience some kind of trauma. So the 5 stages of grief in its entirety is the first step of a 6-step process of its own. And it's really messed up what she did, especially because that we got to delete these tweets and stuff, because we got to delete these messages to each other, because how do you think he feels like he as a kid to whom this might be their first relationship? How the hell do you think he must feel when your first romantic relationship involves you hiding your relationship? When you're a teenager, you want to be proud of the relationship you're in. You want to show it off to everyone, not in a this is my prize kind of way, but more in look, I have succeeded in one of the 8 elements of a healthy life. And you're not able to do that because the person you're with is making you hide your relationship. And even if you legalize underage relationships, which please don't do it.
For the love of God, don't.
Please don't. But even if you did legalize it, it's not going to change. It's not going to change that aspect of what's fucked up about this. And furthermore, the fact that she had a boyfriend also adds to the trauma this kid's experiencing, because not only is he not able to officiate his first what may essentially be his first relationship, but also it's not even a real relationship because she's with someone else. She's adultering with a minor. There are so many fucked up things about this, and I could go on ranting for an hour about this. I could write an 8-page paper on this right now on how fucked up this is. But I shouldn't, because like I know there's 3 other people in the group who also have 2 cents on it. But like that's just the basic like cognitive sociopsychology that I take issue with. And of course, I've experienced trauma of my own, so like all that stuff. But yeah, like what do you guys think?
Who wants to take the cake?
I'll
I
do
need
it.
Go ahead.
I totally agree with you on what you're saying, and your analysis.
Oh,
Mostly teen boys at that age are still trying to develop, their acting maturity, but what they don't realize that it leads to bigger situations, like how this kid went through with this woman. And I believe they should at least try to think it through,
yeah,
because what they're doing is basically not only affecting them, but also affecting the consequences.
right.
And from that, like, not learning anything. Like, it just keeps that bad memory with them forever. Like, they're completely scarred.
Yeah, and the guilt and shame, it falls through them in future relationships.
You know what actually sucks too? Like, for most people who went through that, I mean, not only men, but also young girls out there, like, whenever they spread the word, like, I mean, it does a really good thing to help others and prevent these situations from happening again. But what really bugs me is that these teens still don't even understand that if they get themselves involved with old people that are older people, basically. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
That they're just gonna end up like everyone else, going through the dumb situation, and from that, they're not getting anything good out of it. They're just completely ruining their lives.
Yeah, like if like like a healthy relationship it needs to involve both people
Yes.
like maturing and growing and improving on themselves
Connections.
in ways that they can only do it when they're together.
Yeah.
But here, like she's sucking his humanity out of him, like the Karens from what's it called, from Starship Troopers.
Did you really need to make a Starship Troopers reference right now?
Yeah.
Like the one thing that really disturbs me is those VODs from Xanadu from VG Bootcamp, because it was like when that news came out, people were posting, like the VOD and specific timestamps, and you could see like something like getting like up close, and I was so like oh, like it looked like a puppet. That he looks so much younger for his age, and the fact that this one, I didn't even know that she had a boyfriend too. So that is really disturbing because oh, like the fact that she had a boyfriend while she was doing this, it's this big.
It makes it worse.
And also, she's a hoe.
What'd you say, Thunder Chica?
She's a hoe.
She's a hoe.
You heard me? It's true.
Yo, I just never thought you would ever say hoe though. That's what I'm laughing about. Well, I'm sorry, Al. Continue. I apologize.
No,
That
that was
hoe's coming to dinner.
The fact that she had and
This reminds me of an Adam Sandler quote. Adultery's bad, but incest is worse.
Okay, well, I guess it's up to me now. Look, I have processed a lot of this. I've heard you guys out. Funny enough, before I did this podcast, I did not want. I didn't know if I wanted to actually talk about this because I actually wanted to talk about it yesterday, but I honestly needed to clear my mind because everything happened yesterday. Okay, And I listened to Three Black Geeks. Shouts to Three Black Geeks, by the way. I had listened to Maximilian talk about it. I listened to Barefoot Gypsy 92. Shouts to my girl Barefoot Gypsy. She's cool. Y'all should definitely follow Barefoot Gypsy on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Barefoot Gypsy 92. And I also asked the Black Hokage, shouts to the Black Hokage, about it too. And I think my whole thing sums it up in this one thing I did a screenshot for. Bro, why the 14-year-old, I'm 19, could have molested me instead, wink. Leave the fucking room, man. Jokes like that are why male victims don't get taken seriously. I don't know why I take this one less seriously, though. Like, it's weird, yeah. Hella weird. But, I don't know. D1 and Kitaros are trash, but I can't seem to be upset about this one. Let me tell you something. And I'm going to be very serious right now. I'm going to focus the camera on me real quick. No matter what gender, what sexuality you are, a pedophile is a pedophile. These people legit openly admitted to having a relationship, whether you want to consider it a sexual relationship or any type of relationship. These people admitted to having sexual relations with minor players. Okay? I'm not even gonna talk about Joey. I'm not even gonna touch that motherfucker yet. And yes, I'm cussing right now. I've tried my best not to cuss this whole podcast so long to monetization. It doesn't matter. There's the whole, oh, I would so have sex with my teacher fantasy. There's a reason why it's called a fantasy, people.
Because it's a fantasy, it's not real.
It's a taboo. Because in real life, if the teacher has sex with the student, that's a felony. The kid won't get in trouble. The adult will. Because as an adult, we should have the cognitive sense to know that having sex with a minor is illegal. As an adult, you have to be accountable for what you do, okay? I don't care if it's his word. I don't care if he was 14, like, oh my god, she's 24, man, I would have done. No! What she did is a felony. What Keitaro did is a felony. What Nero did is a felony. What D1 did is a felony. Think about it. If you found out that your friend who's your age and my age, like I'm 25 years old, if I found out my friend who is of my age had sex with my nieces who are like 15, 16 years old, it would be on. Hands would be thrown. Niggas would be on the ground bleeding. I just want to reread Keitaro's thing real quick. I yelled, "What are you doing?" but I didn't stop anything afterwards. You were 30 years old, dude. And she was 16. You are 30 years old. You have the cognitive sense to know that you shouldn't have sex with a minor. I don't give a damn if you said like I yelled. No, the fact that you didn't get out, and also the fact that you allowed her to drink. You allowed a 16-year-old minor to drink. That's a felony as well. You will get put away for saboteur and getting a minor drunk. With Centipede, or Centipede, or whatever the hell that hoeback's name is, you are touching a 14-year-old. And you had a boyfriend? I want to say this. This is not just about the fighting community as a whole. I'm saying this as a gamer who, we are all gamers. Whether we are casual, pro, or moderate gamers. And I know the fighting community is not the only community where this shit happens in. I know for a fact that plenty of this happens in other communities, in the fighting community, and not just the fighting community, but any type of community. This happens. To every adult who thinks this is okay to be in a relationship with a minor, you need professional help. There are 3 things you need. You need professional help, you need Jesus, and you need a fucking ass whooping. And I don't know which one you should get first. The hands, Jesus, or help.
Actually, you reminded me of another thing. You know, just because a minor says yes doesn't mean they know what they're getting themselves into.
And just
Exactly.
because a minor says yes does not give you the consent to continue. There are so many allegations that are going on right now within the gaming community. Everything that's going on with Twitch and certain Twitch streamers who have been accused of having relationships with minors, that this is serious. And the fact that there are, and I know that there are people on Twitter and Instagram that are saying that are going to try to use the consent basis of where the F they are from, whether it's England or Japan or some
In my home country, it's 16.
Or some other fucking backwater ass third world state that's gonna say, well, the consent in my area is like 16 or 17 or 14. Think about it. No, hold on, Common. Wait. Think about it for a minute. You are a grown ass man or a grown ass woman. You've been taught right and wrong for years, and if you truly think that it is okay, whether a teenager says you can have sex with them or not, or if a teenager jumps on you and you, the adult, don't stop, there's something wrong with you. If you are an adult that is hitting on a minor and trying to groom them, so once they're 18, they'll know what they're doing, and when they're 18, you can try if they take your ass to court, and and you can easily say, well, she's 18 and we made an agreement. If you're that type of adult, you need help. Every one of you fucking weirdos in the gaming community that thinks that this is okay, and we're just going beyond the fighting community, we're going around the game community, because I know this shit happens on a daily basis. If you truly think that this is good, this is okay, and people are gonna get a slap on the wrist, you got another thing coming. And not to get religious, but God's watching your ass, and he's gonna cut you down. Just like that song Johnny Cash. God's gonna cut your ass down. So, if you're still doing that right now, I suggest you stop and probably turn yourself in. Because God knows what's gonna happen. The victims who have been molested or raped by any member of the gaming community, whether it's the fighting community or anything like that, my condolences and my heart goes out to you guys. Because no one should ever have to feel like a shell of themselves and come out years later when something like this happens. Whether you are an underage boy or an underage girl, and this happens to you, please speak up. And if you don't have the ability, or if you feel as if you don't have the power to speak up, please talk to someone. Please talk to someone that is close to you. I don't care if it's your mom, your dad, your best friend, a mentor, or anything like that. Please speak up, because shit like this will continue to happen, and there's no way we can help you guys. Please, I am begging you. I am fucking begging you you guys. To the underage kids, please say something. To the adults who know about this shit, please speak up. For the adults that do this shit and have not been called out, I suggest you motherfuckers actually out yourselves. Please, stop this shit. I'm done. Does anyone have anything else to say?
And I'll say one more thing. To some of you guys out there on Twitter, stop glorifying the male victims like, oh, this guy's lucky, because no, he's not. And I should know because I have been a male victim. I mean, neither me nor my assailant were underage. Like, we were both of legal age. But the problem is the fact that she is female and she lives in another country because she was just visiting America at the time. You know, I even if I wanted to, and I do want to, I can't, incriminate her because no one would take it seriously when a man is assaulted by a woman. And two, if she's a resident of another country altogether, it's like what, the police are gonna go to another country and arrest her to go to court? They're not gonna do that. So like, I never got my justice, but I really want other people to get their justice.
We got Carlito. We got a guy in here. Carlito. What's your thoughts, man?
This was always one of those things that I suspected was there, but it was more like there's like an expectation of like, oh yeah, of course there's going to be criminals. Like, we see guys like freaking different kinds of criminals, like Noel Brown, like, who like famously got in jail for, I think it was like beating his girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
Or fucking infiltration, when it like broke out that he like also hit his wife and like eventually got a messy divorce out of that. We'd never seen anything like this out of the community, but I would not be surprised if this really does exist in a whole lot of other communities as well, because like, the thing about the FGC that probably meant that we saw this a lot sooner than other communities is that ours is one of the ones that like really you have to be person to person next to each other in order to get the full experience. So it actually just makes me wonder, I'm like, where the hell else is this going to come out of? Because I could see places like the MOBA community. I wouldn't be shocked at all if this hit them next.
Right. I mean, do you have any final thoughts?
Don't be a pedo.
I actually do feel the same way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of sucks for men that, the ones that are most victimized. And yes, women are also the ones that are getting away with everything at certain times,
No,
I see
okay.
women that do that type of thing, like, there's no word to describe it, but I just feel disappointed. Like, we women should be better than this,
Right.
It's just disgusting for what that chick did.
I just have a question. Like, how, like, if, like, I'm imagining, like, what you said when you were letting it all out. Like, how can, like, for example, I'm 19. I'm about to turn 20 this month, end of the month. How could somebody my age not think this way, yet another dude who's the same age as me can do, like, these kinds of things? Like, there's a psychology behind it. There's how could this, like, why do people think this way? Like, what's attractive? Like,
Power dynamics.
I can tell you, I can honestly tell you, it sucks. It is terrible that people think this way, but it's a whole power dynamic, like Kabuto said. I'm older, I'm more experienced. You're younger, you have less experience.
And it's easy to manipulate younger people to being controlled. Like even Puppy or whatever his name is said, he was gaslit a ton during his relationship with Senpai, including but not limited to being told to delete all the messages, and like she jumped him on the floor and kissed him multiple times and stuff.
So here's an updated list. Okay, so we actually did talk about these. Mr. Wiz, who's the co-founder. So here's the people who've been who have allegations on them right now. We are talking about Mr. Wiz. We talk about Senpai. We talk about D1, Nero, and yeah, those are the first three. We have Bunny Ayu, Echoman, J Tails, Judat, Zaz, where the fuck his name is? Sleepy K. I actually did hear about Sleepy K. Focus, Blue, Remo, Zaxel, ZTN, and Venya. Let me guess. Are they all pedophiles, or do they do something else?
These are the people with pedophilia allegations specifically.
Oh shit.
These are this list I got from Kitty Kaboom, someone who I know in the FG. Well, no, don't know her that well, but I've seen her a lot.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna read Deadpool's thing real quick because I know Deadpool's been writing a plethora real quick, so I'm gonna read hers real quick. It's disappointing. It's a disappointment to the community that I've spent a lot of time in, and to know that, especially in this time now, it just adds on and on. And I can't even believe to understand what not only the community but those poor people went through. We need to change. I hope this girl knows silence because all she's gonna see are these hands. I'm honestly disgusted.
No, I like Deadpool's sense of humor.
So it all comes back around, but I want to say this. I want to say this before I do. Before we get into it, once again, people, if you are, I am being dead ass serious right now. If you are a victim to what's going on, whether you have been molested or you've had a relationship at a time with someone who's older because they took advantage of you, please seek help. Like, I am being dead ass. Coming from someone who I've had friends who've had to deal with this shit before. At certain points, please speak up. If you can't speak up now, speak to someone who will listen, who will actually lend you their ear, whether it's family or friends. Please speak up. Okay? This is not just about the fighting community. It's not just about the gaming community or any other community. This is just humanity as a whole. Please speak up. I'm begging you guys, speak up, okay? With that being said, I want to talk about something a little more cheerful. Let's talk about loot boxes, because EA's back in the news. So EA,
they got
guys,
caught by the European government, I believe.
Yes.
What?
Yes. All right. So